What is going on, guys? This is Kyle from the Shadow Realm TCG, bringing you a Harpie control deck profile for March 2019. So I've actually had this deck for quite a while now. It was really fun to build, and it's a blast to test out because it's actually a really awesome control deck that really focuses mainly on back row removal, which of course is very prevalent in the meta game today. So I think you could do some work with this, maybe at a regional level, question mark. I'm not sure any higher than that though, but overall it is very fun. It has a lot of potential, and with the support that it got from Sisters of the Rose, we got this mostly Harpie Perfumer, which is one of the best support cards the archetype has ever gotten. And yeah, so that's why I decided to make the deck, because it looked really good and it is pretty fun. So let's get right into it then. So I don't have a sideboard, but you guys probably already knew that. So to start, you're going to want to run your triple Harpie Perfumer. So Perfumer is basically your main searcher of the deck. When it's normal or special summoned, you can just search any spell or trap that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in its card text from your deck to your hand. And if you control a level 7 or higher monster when this effect activates, you can add a second card that with a different name. That second effect never goes off, but you mainly use this because this is how you're searching all your combo pieces. This is how you're searching all your control cards. So this was just an awesome addition to the deck, and of course it is a hard once per turn. Now all the Harpies also have a regular passive effect where their name is treated as Harpie Lady while they're on the field or in the graveyard, which is kind of important just because the names over time, they just have to be called that. But yeah, you have to maximize Harpie Perfumer for sure. Next up, you're going to want to play your 3 Harpie Channeler. This card's kind of expensive, but basically it is the summon sorceress of the deck. You discard a card and you can special summon 1 Harpie right from the deck in defense mode. Its other effect is what makes it really good too, is if you control a dragon type monster, its level becomes 7 while it's on the field. So that might not make too much sense right now, but you'll see later on that the main thing that you want to summon with this, or that you can summon, is a level 7 dragon. So this is how you get your rank 7s out. And it's just an overall great card because you can search any Harpie that you need. Especially with the addition of Perfumer, just special summoning Perfumer right out of the deck and getting a ton of advantage that way. So you definitely need to maximize Channeler. Next, you're going to run your 3 Harpie Queen. Harpie Queen is the main searcher for the field spell, which we'll go over later. The field spell is super, super important for the deck, so you definitely want to run 3 Harpie Queen. Unfortunately, her discard effect is a cost, so if she gets called by the grave, you don't get to search, which kind of stinks, but you know, it is kind of an older card, so you just have to deal with it, I guess, right? It is also good to note that she is the highest attack of any Harpie, or any of the normal Harpies, not the dragon, but she's the highest of those. Next up, we're going to be running the 3 Harpie Harpist. So Harpist is really interesting. So when it's summoned, you can just bounce things, which is kind of cool. Or when it's normal summoned, that is. But you mainly use it as discard fodder for your Channeler. So what she does when she's sent to the graveyard, or if she's in the graveyard at the end of your turn, you can search for basically any Harpie that has 1500 or less attack. So you can't search her. Luckily for us, though, Perfumer is a legal target for that. So you can search that if you really want. You're mainly searching Perfumer with this. So that's why you play that. Now for the one-ofs, we have the 1 Harpie Dancer. Dancer is, well, the only reason you play 1 is because she's searchable for 1. For 2, you do not want to see her in your opening hand, and you do not want to top deck her. So that's why you kind of have to run just 1 of her. Basically what she does is she just resummons a Harpie. So you target a Harpie you control, you return it to your hand, and then you normal summon again. So, and because of the way it's worded, you can use the same monster that you turn to your hand. So again, mainly use this if you have Perfumer out. You can normal summon her, bounce Harpie Perfumer, normal summon Harpie again and do a search. So she's really good in the late game, but in the early game you don't really want her. Next, the one elephant in the room, the Harpie's Pet Dragon. So Pet Dragon is it's kind of weird. It doesn't really have any notable effects other than it gains 300 for every Harpie on the field. But what's important is that it has Harpie in its name, so you can special summon it off a Channeler. And it is a level 7 dragon, so Channeler will become a level 7, and then you can go into your rank 7s. Mainly, the only rank 7 I ever go into is Big Eye, because this is a control deck, so you're going to want to play that to its max. And finally, the one Cyber Harpie Lady, which also doesn't really have any effects, but its main effect is that it's always treated as Harpie Lady, which is very important because that includes in the deck. There is a spell card that lets you special summon from hand or deck, so that's why you want this in your deck, most likely. And of course, the spell is searchable with Perfumer, so that's why you run that. I see a lot of people also running Harpie Lady Sisters, because you can special summon that too. The only problem is Harpie Lady Sisters is a level 6, so it requires a tribute, and it's a level 5. So it requires a tribute, and it's just not that great. The spell isn't once per turn, but I still wouldn't do that. Anyway, the hand traps, of course, you play the 3 Ash, because this is a control deck, and this is probably the best hand trap ever printed. And then you have the 2 Ogre. Ogre comes in handy sometimes, not as much as Ash, but still, great card. So anyway, that's going to do it for the monster lineup. Let's go right on to the spells then. So play a ton of spells in here. First, you have the field spell, and that is Harpie's Hunting Ground. You play triple. So this is your main, I guess, enabler. So basically all winged beasts gain 200 attack, so you get a little attack boost, which is nice. But its main effect, which is not once per turn, is whenever any player summons a Harpie, the person who conducted the summon targets one spell or trap on the field and destroys it. So this is really good going against your opponent because you can just do their back row removal, but it's also good for you because the spells in this deck all have effects when they are destroyed by a Harpie effect. So, and those effects are pretty broken, so that's why you definitely want to do this. And since it's not once per turn, if you summon 2 Harpies, you can immediately just pop 2 cards, so you can pop one opponent's card and one of your cards to get some advantage. So one of the main cards to get this advantage is the Hysteric Sign. This card is bananas, which is why it doesn't have Harpie in its name anywhere, or Harpie Lady Sisters, because it's just that good. So its first effect is when it's activated, you search for Elegant Egotist, which is a spell card. That's the one that special summons from deck. You only play one of it though, so you don't really use it for that. What you do use it for is at the end phase, if this card was destroyed by a Harpie's card effect and is now in the graveyard, you can add 3 Harpie cards with different names from your deck to your hand. Again, to mention, it is during the end phase, so it's not like you can use the cards immediately, but one of the main cards you're searching you can use on your opponent's turn, and it is a very powerful card, which is why you need to maximize this out. Of course, you can only use one effect, and it's a hard once per turn each turn. So if you activate it, search for Elegant Egotist, and then blow it up, you can't search. So what I usually do is I just set the card and then destroy it, and its effect will still go off. So really, really, really good. Finally, for the last of the kind of Harpie spells per se, we have the 3 Alluring Mirror Split. So Mirror Split is kind of like a really interesting battle trap. So basically, when a Harpie is destroyed by battle, you can special summon another Harpie from your deck with a different name. And its other effect is when this card is destroyed, you can Monster Reborn a Harpie in your graveyard. So those are both hard ones per turns, but you can use both of them. So if let's say someone goes into your Harpie, and then, because it's like in defense mode because of special summon or something, then it gets destroyed, this thing triggers, you special summon one from your deck, probably Perfumer, so you can get that search. and then your field spell goes off, and you get this out of the way, and then it reborns, and then you get to destroy another trap, or a spell or trap. So this card's just awesome, and this one is searchable with Perfumer as well. So it is also good to note that the field spell is also searchable through Perfumer, but you mainly look at Alluring Mirror Split most of the time. Now for some backup cards, we're going to be playing the 2-Pod Desires. This card is just bananas. I can't say it enough. This card is one of my favorite cards, I think, in the whole game. I put it in a lot of rogue decks because it really ups the consistency a ton. This deck does not have a lot of draw power. Of course, we have Hysteric Sign, which adds 3 cards, but that's not super consistent. Like, you're not going to have it every single game, so you really want this to make sure you can get that. And then we have Call By, which is just a really nice card, not only to stop hand traps going against you, but just to stop like Monster Reborns and stuff like that. And then the final spell is the 1 Elegant Egotist. This one's also searchable with your Harpie Perfumer. Basically, if Harpie Lady's on the field, you can special summon 1 Harpie Lady from either your hand or your deck. So the reason this is important is because Cyber Harpie Lady is always treated as Harpie Lady, so even in the deck. So that's why when you use this is just a free summon. And even if you happen to brick, let's say you get rid of this with Desires, and you draw this is still normal summonable, so it's not a complete brick like Harpie Lady Sisters would be. Anyway, that does it for the spells. Finally, the traps. This trap right here is insane. This is what you're mainly searching for when you pop your Hysteric Sign, Harpie's Feather Storm. So I know a lot of people are kind of upset about Azathoth right now, how he just shuts down a turn. Well, this is literally Azathoth in 1 card. Basically, if you control a Harpie card, you can activate this from your hand, and you negate any of your opponent's monster effects that they activate for the entire turn. So if you pop your Hysteric Sign, you add this because it has Harpie in its name. So you add this and then 2 other cards for your next turn. And then during their turn, whenever they do something, you do this and it negates all their things. So you definitely need this card. This is one of your game winners right here. And then finally, just these were some generic traps right here. The 3 Solemn Strikes. You're a control deck, so you're mainly worried about your opponent doing anything. So Solemn Strike really helps with that. Anyway, that's it for the main deck. Let's go right on to the extra deck. So the extra deck is kind of weird because I've been playtesting with it a lot, but bear with me. First, you have the 2 Great Fly. Great Fly just buffs everything that is wind, and if you happen to be going against someone who's playing earth monsters, this will lower that, I guess. That's kind of cool, but it's mainly just a link that has the awesome arrows. Next, you have the Nightmare package, so Cerebus and Phoenix. Now, if you want to play Unicorn, I'd probably actually take Phoenix out because you actually have enough spell and trap removal, so you don't really need Phoenix. So Cerebus and Unicorn would probably be better for you. Next, you have the 1 Decode Talker. It's just like a really awesome generic card that can get really powerful and can negate stuff, so it's overall just really good. And then finally, Summon Sorceress, because everything's the same. They're all the same type and all the same attribute, which is important when you're going against Floodgates. The only one that's different is the Dragon, but again, you're not really summoning him all the time, but yeah, Summon Sorceress. Enough said about that, right? Anyway, that's it for the links. Now the rest of these are Xyz monsters. So first we have Diamond Direwolf. This guy hasn't seen play in a while. There's probably a good reason for that, but still, it is a very versatile card that you can use, just pop things. He's got a big body, and it's just a cool card. If you want to put the Utopia package right here, go ahead. I do have a lot of rank 3s, or rank 4s, I mean, but they're all in the wind-up deck, which I'll link that in the description if you want. Anyway, next you have the 1 Tornado Dragon. Again, this is why you don't need Phoenix that much, because Tornado's just... he's not better, but for this deck, he is a little bit better. Next you have Ice Beast Xeraphon. Nobody really knows what this card does, but it's actually pretty good. So it's a 2000 body, and you need 2 level 4 winged beasts. And basically, when you can detach and negate all monster effects currently on the field until the end of the next turn, and it gains attack for everything on the field. So you want to do this on your turn when there's a lot of monsters with like some battle effects or something. So you can just plop this guy down, negate everything, and he gets pretty big. So it's really good. Next you have the one Castel. Castel is especially good because he is wind and a winged beast. So again, the floodgates don't really hurt. And again, he just spins cards, so really awesome. Next we have the one Lightning Chidori. Chidori is really cool and can actually win you games. So when he is summoned, or when it's summoned I guess, you can target a set card on the field and spin it back to the deck. And then once per turn you can detach one material, target a face-up card your opponent controls, and put it on top of the deck. So you can actually really ruin someone's day with this, especially if they have a big link monster, you can just get rid of it. So really awesome. Next I have a package here, which I will show you now. This will be really weird, and I'm sorry, but this has worked out very fun so far. So first you got the Dreadnought. So Dreadnought is just a generic rank 4. When it destroys something by battle, you can detach a material from this card and then special summon from your extra deck one rank 10 or higher machine using it as material. So your next step you're going to go into is Super Dreadnought. Pretty sure everyone knows what this guy does. You detach and he deals 2,000 to your opponent. So again, if it's getting to the grind game, this can really come in handy. And then when you're done with that, you can overlay right into Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon. Nobody ever expects this, and it's really funny actually. But yeah, you can just special summon him by overlaying. It's a 4,000 that can attack up to the number of materials it has, and you can detach and it gains a lot of attack. So this just really ends games. Unfortunately, to get it out, you need to use Dreadnought, which means it's after your battle phase, but this is a pretty big body that they have to get rid of, or else they're probably losing. So, and finally, the last card is the mentioned before Big Eye, which is the only rank 7 because I didn't really have a lot of room in this deck, in the extra deck that is. But this guy is just an awesome controlled component. You can just special summon in defense mode, detach, and then steal something. So really cool. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what the heck you think about this. I know it's kind of weird, and there's probably not too much hype around Harpies, but I just wanted to share it with you guys because I found it really awesome. Make sure to hit the like button if you did like it, and consider subscribing. It really, really helps us out. I can't stress that enough. And I know it's probably annoying for you to hear me say that, but it really does. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.